This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. All the new tariffs in the U.S. are costing automakers billions more in costs. But we believe they're worried about getting attacked by President Trump if they were to say that car prices are going up because of the tariffs. While actual sticker prices haven't changed that much this year, the average vehicle costs just under $50,000 right now, we have seen purchase incentives get slashed, which can amount to thousands of dollars. Now, that hasn't been true for EVs over the last several months as the federal tax credit has gone away. But we know EV incentives from major automakers like GM and Ford will go away at the end of the year. Automakers have also increased destination charges in the face of new tariffs. While the cost to ship vehicles across the U.S. has been steadily increasing since 2021, according to Edmunds, destination charges saw their biggest year-over-year increase in the last decade. They're up 8.5% for the 2025 model year, hitting an average of nearly $1,550. The actual increase over the last 4 years might not seem that great, up an average of $329. But some brands like Porsche and some segments like pickup trucks are about double that number. China might like to boast about being an EV powerhouse, but sales of gas and diesel-powered vehicles are also on the rise. In fact, they were up for a third straight month in September, and for the year, they're up 0.8%, about the same increase that NEV sales have seen in China. According to the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers, retail sales of ICE vehicles hit nearly 1.2 million units last month, and from January through September, almost 10 million have been sold. New energy vehicles, or NEVs, which includes BEVs, PHEVs, and EREVs, have never topped 50% market share in China for a full year. They look like they could be on pace for that this year, but with ICE sales on the rise, it will likely be another close race. Despite posting better than expected financial numbers in the third quarter, which sent its shares soaring, General Motors just laid off more than 200 salaried workers. Most of the cuts were at its Warren Tech Center near Detroit and were due to, quote, business decisions. In a statement to Bloomberg, GM said it's restructuring its design engineering team, which resulted in a number of the layoffs. In an effort to turn around poor sales and financial results, Nissan is looking for a boost wherever it can, and that could include exporting U.S.-made SUVs to Japan. The company is thinking about sending over the Murano and/or Pathfinder, saying it thinks they're well suited for Japan's road conditions. But the move would also help keep more models rolling down the assembly line and help boost its sales. And there could be another benefit as well. President Trump arrived in Japan today and will be in Asia most of the week with the hope of agreeing to new trade deals. The idea of exporting U.S.-built models to sell in Japan, which Toyota is also considering, could help those trade negotiations along.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
That Nexperia chip shortage could soon cripple production in the U.S. MEMA, the group that represents suppliers, says that auto production will face, quote, significant impacts in the next 2 to 4 weeks. But it's not just U.S. suppliers that are being impacted. Bosch says it's preparing to furlough workers at one of its plants in Germany if the shortage isn't resolved soon. And this all stems from Dutch chipmaker Nexperia getting bought out by Chinese company Wingtech. The Trump administration warned that the Chinese were planning to move the operations to China, so the Dutch government took the chipmaker over. China retaliated by limiting exports of Nexperia components out of China, and that's what triggered this chip shortage. The Volkswagen brand was number one in BEV sales in July and August in Europe, but Tesla reclaimed the top spot in September. The company sold more than 38,000 EVs, easily outselling second-place Volkswagen by 15,000 units. But while Tesla was the best-selling EV brand, its sales were actually down 12% compared to last year. Skoda, Renault, and BMW round out the top 5 in EV sales. Overall, more than 250,000 EVs were sold in Europe last month, up 22% from a year ago and accounting for nearly 21% of the total market. In our latest poll, we asked our YouTube and Patreon members if they agreed with the prediction from former Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares that the automaker's European operations could be sold to Chinese automakers while Chrysler goes back to U.S. ownership. And the overwhelming majority, 84%, said you agree that Stellantis will be broken up because there are just too many brands to feed. Only 10% said no, you don't believe it will happen because the company needs all that manufacturing scale. And the remaining 6% said neither. Here's what they had to say. Keith Mensing commented, "If they break it up, I think the U.S. company could struggle to maintain enough market share and total production. Tavares hurt this company to its core. Jeep and Chrysler aren't what they once were." One Nick Thomas had this comment, "Sounds like sour grapes from Stellantis' chief architect, now casting doubt from the sidelines. Curious." Dave Perkins says, "Storied marques like Maserati and Alfa could and should stand on their own in a much smaller focus company. I rather doubt that they gain much in the way of design and engineering as part of a much larger operation." And lastly, Bill Grabowski said, quote, "It will take a bankruptcy type event, but Ram/Jeep will be carved off to a U.S. approved buyer, and the other pieces will be parceled to Chinese-backed OEMs. Volvo is already there. It will happen in the next 5 years." Thanks for all of your feedback. 84% is a shocking number to hear, but when you think about it, supporting that many brands in the long term will be really difficult. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. CSP, the composites solution partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
Performance that shines, even in the rain. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Potenza tires, improved grip in wet conditions.
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.